Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Star Trek Online. I'm Bull, and we're going to continue on with the further adventures of Captain Roger and the starship Voila. When we last left, we had just completed the Azura quest, which gave us a comm code that lets us summon an Azura that has the bank, the exchange, mailbox, etc. Really useful for when you're out traveling the galaxy and you have a inventory load of stuff that you want to get rid of. So, I have two missions currently waiting for me to do something with. I've got Outreach, which I have to talk to commodity broker Hosa, and I've got Diplomatic Orders, which I have to locate Ambassador Sokath in the Vulcan system. We're going to go do Outreach real quick, because that's technically one of the tutorial missions still. I could fly back to Sol, because Sol's not very far away. But we might as well show you the transwarp. If you click on the button, the transwarp is located right underneath the Depart System button to the left side of your mini-map. The transwarp gives you your destinations that you can quickly travel. I talked about this last time. Currently the only things I have is Sol and the Fleet Starbase. So we're going to go to Sol System. Just because that's where we're heading anyway, so it'll save us a couple of seconds. So zoom, zoom, zoom. Press the button, bing, all the stars go boom. And we come into Sol System along with 1,300 other ships. And you can see there's lots of cool ships here. But we are going to head to the Starbase, fly in a little closer, and dock. So, anyways, we are heading over to the commodity broker. And the commodity broker is going to be over here where all the other vendors are in Earth Space Dock. And he has the convenient little, she has the convenient little check mark over her head saying, hey, you can turn a quest in here. Greetings, Lieutenant. The Federation Aid and Outreach Program seeks to establish positive relations with many of the systems located in the star clusters throughout the unexplored and unexplored space. Admiral Quinn sent you? Great. The Federation Outreach Program can use all the help it can get. So we resolved that mission. We didn't really get anything for it, unfortunately, but that's alright. You can ask him a whole bunch of questions. But the gist of it is, she's telling you that there are, pull up your mini-map, or big map, you can see that off of some of the, like if you look at the Sirius block where Sol is, and Andoria and Vulcan in the Vulcan sector, to the left of it there's a section that says Delta Volanus Cluster, kind of running up sideways. Those are unexplored regions. There is one of those in most sectors, with the exception being Omega Leonis, which is where the Klingons start. There are 4 in that area. And what these are, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do with them. There's a daily quest that'll send you over there where you explore, basically you find these unexplored areas and you go in to explore them, and there will be a randomly generated quest. And that quest could be anything from shoot down some ships, to land on a planet and collect some soil samples, to go to the planet and fight some stuff. They're pretty simple, really straightforward. They're not very complex. There's no real storyline to most of them other than, you know, oh, hey, there used to be people here and now there's not. Check out the gizmos and let us know what you found. But occasionally you will also find planets that need supplies, and that's what we're doing right now. So we'll go the needs of the many. We'll accept, because the quest is to go to the Delta Volanus cluster and aid a planet in need. And there's also a good start, which is take shield generators from the commodity stock. So we get those, and then we loot the box, and we now have shield generators. You'll see 10 of them. Now, if you talk to broker Foss over here, open up his store, you'll see he's got a bunch of different commodities. And there's even more. There's maybe a dozen or so commodities total. Plus there are rare Gamma Quadrant commodities, which you can only get through doing DOF missions. But generally speaking, these are used occasionally for missions. When you go to planets, they'll say, hey, we need 10 of this or 10 of that. Can you help us out? In which case you give them these. Or they'll need, or you'll need them to complete duty officer missions. You can get them at the various commodity brokers, and they're going to be a little bit cheaper if you buy them here. Plus, most commodity brokers have 1 or 2 commodities that they sell at a discounted price above what anybody else sells them for. You kind of learn that through trial and error. But if you're trying to save yourself a few energy credits, if you figure out which commodity vendor has say entertainment provisions at the cheapest rate, if you're willing to spend a little bit of time, you can make a little bit of money doing that, or save yourself a little bit of money. The other thing you can do is if you hit I, bring up your inventory, down at the bottom you have a replicator. If you pull up the replicator, there's a bunch of things you can get. There's up at the top, there's something called a frequency remodulator. Whenever you're fighting Borg on the ground, they will adapt to the weapon you're using relatively quickly. So you'll need to have a frequency remodulator in your inventory, and you'll need to use that to change frequencies so that you can once again damage the Borg. Not something you really have to worry about till much later in the game, though. There's food items that you can buy, and these give you hit points over time when you're out of combat. I generally don't bother with them because once you're out of combat, your hit points come back pretty quick anyways. You can buy a really crappy phaser or shields, and then you can also buy any of the commodities through your replicator. However, buying them this way is the most expensive way to get them in the game. It's really handy for when you're out somewhere and they say, hey, do you have this? And you can go, no, but give me a minute and I can replicate it. But if you're just looking to, like I said, but it's not a cheap way to do it. You don't want to use those unless you're rolling in cash. So we're going to drop those, and we're going to warp back out to the system. Okay, so we need to head to the Delta Volantis system. So we pull up our map again, and you look and you'll see a little arrow pointing off, and there's Delta Volantis. You also see Vulcan is highlighted because that's where we need to go for one of our other quests. But we'll go check out Delta Volantis first. See if we can find one of these quests to show you. I'm going to kind of fast forward over to that, so we'll see in a few. So once you get into Delta Volantis, you'll notice that there's a bunch of markers that just say Delta Volantis anomaly, and this will apply to any of the unexplored regions you go into. If you pull up the map and look, you'll see it's just a big empty square. And like I said, there's nothing set in here. These are randomly generated. So what you want to do is you want to fly up near one. So we will slowly chug our way over to one because being that we're low level, we are slow. And when you get near to one of two things will happen. You'll either have explore unexplored area, or you'll have scan anomalous reading. Scanning anomalous reading is just like when you find the anomalous reading thingies on the ground. You need to match the waveform. And when you do, you get toys. So you loot that, and you move on. There is a daily quest that you can get to explore 3 of these unknown systems. And those will give you prizes for doing that. I don't think I have those unlocked yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. You get those fairly early on, though. There is also a daily quest that you can do once a day to explore 3 regions, and that will give you dilithium. So that's one of the ways to earn dilithium is through certain daily quests. Okay, we're now in an unexplored region, and we need to fly in and scan a planet for decalithium, which is a little bit like dilithium, but it's deca instead of di. So we are flying in. Unfortunately, with these, especially with these randomly generated ones, they tend to put you way back away from the planet. So you just kind of hit full bore and you go. As a note, if you're looking for anomalous readings that you can scan for the data samples, these are great places to do so. Next to your mini-map, you have the transport button that I showed you earlier, but underneath that there's a button called Scan Area. Scan Area is fantastic for certain things. If you're in most general areas that most maps for exploration, they have data sample points that you can scan. And Scan Area will tell you how many there are, in this case 2 anomalies in the area, and it will point you towards the nearest one if you're within a certain range. Fairly widespread range, but then you can fly down and do that. I'm not going to, but you can. The other nice thing is that you'll hit, especially doing these, you'll find areas where you need to scan 5 plants or collect 5 soil samples or whatever, and there'll be certain spots you have to go to collect those. As well as pointing you towards anomalous readings, you can also use that scan, your tricorder scan area thingy to point you in the right direction for those. So it's really handy for when you got a big map and you're not entirely sure where to go. You can always try hitting that. And so long as it shows up blue, and it'll have basically a laser pointer telling you where to go, you know where to go. If it does red, that means there's either nothing in the area or you're too far away to get an accurate reading. In which case, then you just have to run around a little while and hit it again. Now, not all missions will have that option, so you got to kind of get lucky and hope that they do. So, flying towards the planet. Alright. We can beam down and examine the mineral deposits. Alright, well, this is not one of the quests we need for the Deliver Aid to the Needy, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but we'll head down. And I have my shiny new bridge crew and 1 security officer, because I've only gotten 3 bridge crew so far. Okay, we've beamed onto the planet. There are multiple deposits of minerals in the area. We need to examine one. When you beam into an area where there's stuff to examine, there's usually one right near you. Oh, and there's one glowing. And it's rainy and gray and overcast, so that's fun. So we need to find 4 more deposits. Usually there's 5 things all told. Occasionally that changes up. So as I mentioned earlier, we can scan and it's pointing us this way. So we will run this direction. And sure enough, there's another one. Now, many of these quests will have enemies. There'll be Klingons that have showed up that want to stop you, or some other alien race. But a lot of times with these randomly generated ones, there's not. It's just run around 5 of these and beam back up to your ship. This one looks to be a run around, collect, and beam back. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause until the end, because watching me run around and collect rocks is boring. Okay, and now we've found our last rock. So we'll scan it, and that will complete the mission. We can continue exploring if we'd like, or we can beam up to the ship. I'm going to beam up to the ship because why not? Okay, unfortunately it is, sometimes when you beam back out there'll be another system right under you. The system will have respawned or whatever, close enough for you to just go right back in. I'm not going to bother doing that because honestly the exploring the unknown systems, they're actually really good for XP. They're a good way to grind out XP, and if you're looking for data samples, because if you're interested in crafting, or you could also sell them on the exchange for a tidy little profit, so you know it's a way to make money. So if you're interested in doing that sort of thing, not a bad way to do it. I am going to poke around for just a moment, though. I'm not actually going to do any more exploring unknowns, because unfortunately the Deliver Aid to Needy system requires you to find a system that needs help with something. And basically all it is you fly to the planet, it says, hey, we're in need of X, shield generators or whatever, can you help us out? You say, yes, I can help you out, and you give them to them. They give you some XP and you move on with your life. However, those are random as to whether you find that or not. So I'm not going to bother with that quest right now. However, I do want to show you right now, throughout the day, if you pull up your chevron, your Hail Starfleet, down at the bottom there's a today's events, and there are special events that run all through the day, and there are all kinds of different things. Currently running is the multiphasic event. If you're looking for data samples, this one is a great one. It's good to do the data samples hunt while the multiphasic event is going on. In fact, a lot of people will head to these unexplored regions and they'll just fly around and they'll ignore the explore ones, and they will simply look for scan anomalous readings. And the reason is, as you'll see, we'll go ahead and do this. You'll notice that I get 3 different samples. Usually when you do these, you only get one. You get one type of sample, and you'll get anywhere from 1 to 5 of this data sample. If you succeed, you usually get more. If you fail at it, you'll get fewer. You usually get at least 1, though. During the multiphasic event, you usually get several types of samples, and you'll get 1 to multiples of those. You also have a much higher chance of getting rare data samples, which will show up blue. And you usually only get 1 of those at a time, although often you'll get 1 of 2 different ones. So we will take all of those, and I just wanted to show you that real quick. So we are going to head out, and we're going to head to the Vulcan system. Okay, so we are heading over to the Vulcan system now to do diplomatic orders. That is the next one in our storyline mission. One other thing is, if you pull up your Starfleet things, you'll see a thing called episodes. Will be the top left box on here. If you click on more, it will show you all the different storylines. So there's the Klingon War, Romulan Mystery, Cardassian Struggle, Borg Collective, Breen Invasion, Undyne Advance. And if you click on, you can click on any of them, but if you click on Klingon War, you can see the missions will be listed here that you've done or will do. So, welcome to Earth Space Dock, stranded in space. And the neat thing is if you want to, you can actually replay. And you'll see that I can choose multiple rewards for replaying this. And one of the things you can get is your Azura personal comm code again. So if for whatever reason you lose your comm code, the Azura comm code, delete it by accident, or the game glitches and it deletes it out of your inventory, you can always go back and replay this event to get it again. And you can also get some extra loot. And then you can see diplomatic orders is the one we're currently on, and it has a nice eye for information. And then hide and seek, stop the signal, etc. So, alright, we head into Vulcan. Alright. Captain, we arrived at the Vulcan system. I took the liberty of contacting the ambassador's aide when we arrived. How dare you do that without my express permission? Ah, well, I like a trill that takes a little initiative. Tabella says the ambassador has certain arrangements that he prefers when traveling. She would like to go over them with you. Would you like me to put her on the main view screen? Sure. So here's our aide Tabella. He doesn't like transporters, so he wants to take the shuttle. So we can head over to and they're sending a shuttle for us. So we can take a shuttle down. Eventually, you get your own shuttle that you can actually fly. And it will look exactly like this because all shuttle interiors are the same. At least all Federation shuttles. So we head over here, and there's a glowing panel, so we will land the shuttle. And of course we will actually sit first, because the hitbox for the chair overlaps the hitbox for the plant panel. So we're better off actually clicking the land shuttle tab or hitting F. And we get a little mini cutscene as our shuttle flies in. And apparently my shuttle has a cloaking device. And Vulcan's kind of cool, and it looks a lot like it did in the movies. So, lots and lots of red everywhere. You can actually go down and visit the Vulcan city over there, but we don't need to go there. We are heading up to the main temple. And it's kind of boring running. There's actually not a whole lot that happens here, so we're going to go ahead and pause so you don't have to watch me run. Okay, we come up, and we are now in the little meditation temple area. And we have Vulcans, and there's one with an eye over his head. So that must be Ambassador Sokoth.
Welcome to Vulcan.
And he's actually voiced.
Do you have any questions?
We can ask about Pajem, which is where he's heading. Pajem is a Vulcan monastery on a planet near Vulcan. It's also an area that was contested between the Vulcans and Andorians. It gets a lot of action if you watched the television show Enterprise.
This is ridiculous. Access to Pajem is strictly limited to preserve the sanctity of the monastery. No outsiders are permitted to land without the express permission of Savin, the leader of the Order of the Priest that maintains the planet. Ordinarily, this would not present any difficulty, but Savin has chosen this moment to illogically question my visiting the monastery. He is refusing to grant leave for me to meet with the abbot at Pajem. If I do not complete my journey to Pajem now, I will have to delay it until after the trade conference at Corridon is complete, and that could take weeks. I fear I've spent too much time off-world. While I find it easy to deal with things, my own people can be stubborn. Perhaps you could speak to Savin. I know he has a great deal of respect for Starfleet, and you might have an easier time than I would.
I figure since he's got a voiceover, I'll let the game do the voiceovers for me, so that way you don't have to listen to my lame speeches. Peace and long life. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors? Blah, blah, blah. We can ask him about a bunch of stuff. Whether he trusts Sokoth. Tell me what you've heard. Is there any way I can persuade you to allow Sokoth to visit Pajem? I will permit it if you pledge to me on your honor as a Starfleet officer that you will protect Pajem from harm. Sokoth says that his reasons for wanting to speak to the abbot are private. I will accept that, but only if you are with him. I know I can trust Starfleet. You haven't watched many of the shows, have you? Please protect Pajem from any who would violate its sanctity. Well, we talked him into letting Sokoth go, although he has some reservations about it.
Do you have any questions?
I've spoken to Savin. Why doesn't he trust you?
How should I know? He is a small man with small concerns. Thankfully, he has listened to reason, and our journey won't be delayed any longer. I am ready to leave now. Is the shuttle prepared for departure?
You know, it's funny. He doesn't sound or act like a Vulcan. I wonder if that's going to come into play later. I don't know. Alright, well, you get a little interaction between him and one of the NPCs, and then he will follow us. And we are just running down to the shuttle, so again, I will cut out the running part because, well, it's neat. It's a lot of pretty scenery, but it's, well, it's just running to that shuttle over there. Okay, we are now coming up on the shuttle, and then we can board the shuttle. And we get a little cutscene of us leaving. Live long and prosper. Alright, we can talk to the ambassador now that we're on the shuttle.
I need to meditate and prepare for my meeting with the abbot of the gem. If you have no objections, I will retire to my quarters. Please notify me when we have arrived at our destination. Once again, you have my gratitude for your assistance.
Alright, so he wants to meditate, so we can return to the bridge. We have return to bridge, and we will load over to the bridge. We will depart the system. And if you pull up your map, you can see Pajem is right there. So we'll click on it to auto-navigate, and away we go. Okay, and we've zapped over to Pajem, and we can continue diplomatic orders. Oh, we're picking up unusual energy reading in the system. We should scan the surface system before we take the ambassador to the surface. So we scan energy patterns. Oh, it's decloaking Klingon ships. Yeah, get used to that. Anytime there's anomalous readings, it's usually somebody cloaked and about to try to kick your butt. You have a foul shape changer on your ship. Turn the creature over to us, or we will destroy you. Shape changer? What do you mean? The foul beast on your ship is an Undyne. They put on a false face and try to control us, but we Klingons know better. We will hunt them down, Onless dogs, die screaming, yada yada. The Undyne come from the dimension known as fluidic space. Yes, these are the aliens that showed up in Voyager and kicked the crap out of the Borg. Yes, they're one of the reasons that the Borg became such wimps. They have technology that's a real threat to everyone, even the Borg, but the worst of their weapons is their ability to take our forms. The Undyne have inserted themselves in every major power in the quadrant and seek to control us through trickery and misdirection. You must be vigilant. Why are they here? You tell me. Do you have any proof? I have nothing to prove that likes... Okay. So he can't prove it, he just has accusations. And, of course, we're going to fight rather than try to talk it out with him, because that is the Federation way, yes? Oh, despite what they say. Yeah, generally speaking, fight first, ask questions later. So we will have to do a little bit of quick combat. And as usual, I'll fire some torpedoes and then do a little broadside action. Fortunately, birds of prey blow up pretty easily. Usually. Alright, now I'm going to kind of skip through combat because you really don't need to watch me fight these ships so slowly. If I had a better ship, it might be more fun to watch. But at this stage, the combats generally are me flying in circles, trying to side strafe these guys. So, and I have 2 groups of 3 that I need to kill here. So we'll just skip through. Okay, now that the ships have been taken care of, we have a message to beam down to the planet. So we will get our team together, and we are going to beam down. Alright. Captain, we need to secure the area and then make our way toward the monastery, which is located at the top of the hill. I'm reading multiple Klingon patrols. Defeat the Klingons blocking your path. Generally speaking, you'll have paths to wherever you need to go whenever you need to travel between places. And of course we have these guys. Lay down a minefield. Just in case anybody actually makes it this far. Oh yeah, there he goes. And we kill all the Klingons. We loot. We talk to the Vulcan monk. He wants to save his brothers at the top of the hilltop. Alright, and occasionally, as I mentioned in the last video, or one of the earlier videos, you'll occasionally find crates you can loot that'll have some minor stuff in it. Nothing huge. So we move up the hill, and oh, there's more Klingons. At this level, if you're not paying attention, the enemies can be a little bit dangerous, but still, like the tutorial, they're not going to deal a whole lot of damage. Yeah. Let's continue to head this way. There's a box to loot. There's Klingons on the hill there, so we will snipe at them since I have a nice long-range sniper rifle. Oh, he's throwing grenades. I wish I had thought to show you, but I didn't get a chance to. I didn't really think about it. When a grenade is thrown, you'll see a big red circle on the ground around your feet, indicating basically the blast area of the grenade. So, and there's usually a couple of seconds for you to move, and that's why, if you noticed, I kind of did this little jump move. And that's usually, I just have a tendency to want to go, well, just jump out of the way, you know, away from the grenade area. And we actually have two groups of Klingons that I'm engaged with because I wasn't really paying attention. And there was some patrol coming down the path, and there was a group talking to these, threatening these Vulcans over here. So, talk to the Vulcan. And you can sometimes interact with the NPCs, but it doesn't really do much all the way. Not sometimes. But, you know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So it's a good idea to always talk to people if you have the option. And loot everything, even when it's crap. Because even crap sells, and especially at the beginning levels, you're going to be hurting for money. Alright, well, there's not a whole lot here. That's a little suspicious. We're going to come up here. Oh, hey, look, there's Klingons ambushing us. Yeah, you always beam into the beginning of the area and have to fight your way into wherever you're going. We have an incoming message. The Vulcan security forces have discovered the body of Ambassador Sokath. Oh, he's the changeling all along. Oh, and Sokath has escaped the ship.
Such emotion on your face. I see now my deception has been exposed. Pity. Capturing the abbot so we could replace him as well would have been beneficial. But we are strong. We will prevail. You are weak, and the weak shall perish.
Now, some people complain and say that this has really bad voice acting. I prefer instead to think of it that it's an alien trying to pretend to be human, and as such isn't doing a very good job of it. So it's not that the voice acting is bad, it's just that he's got such an alien perspective that he just sounds stilted and unemotional. And he is actively trying to kick my butt. He doesn't like me, so I'm going to drop some mines since he's... Oh, no. I'm going to try to drop some mines. And for some reason, he is not going to set those up. Off. Oh, but he's going to. Oh. Sneaky, sneaky.
Why should I trouble myself with such insignificant beings when the Klingons do my work for me?
This is why you don't let the bad guy monologue.
Prepare for battle. Yes.
See, we should have been phasering him while he was talking.
Foul shapeshifter. I'm returning to the ship. Don't let them leave this planet alive. Ah. Yes.
And of course now we're going to have to fight more Klingons, because, you know, that's what we would do. And we loot as we go. We shoot the bad guys. Shooty shooty. Pew pew. Up, and there goes the end. Oh, you can see the red circle there right before the grenade landed. Showing you where you were going to hit. Or your bridge officer in this case. Unfortunately, we're not really getting very much in the way of decent loot. Although we did get some Saurian brandy. Saurian brandy's a little tougher to come by early in the game, although later on you can just buy it. We did get a level 1 disruptor beam, which should be... Let's see what, okay, she's got those. Yeah, that's actually going to be slightly better than the base default phaser rifle, or phaser beam. So we're going to go ahead and switch that out. And, oh hey, look. We also picked up a sniper rifle somewhere. I think. Yep. Oh, full phaser, full auto rifle. So that's also going to be better. So we are going to give that to him. Not sure where we picked that up. I missed it. We have to scan the area to see if the... You know what? There's something down here. We're going to go take a look real quick. Because one of the interesting things is sometimes they hide little iffy thingies you can do for accolades, which are kind of cool. And there's this Vulcan art piece thingy hanging down here. So we're going to come down and take a look real quick just to see if there's something. Nope, we can scan the anomalous reading. I'm not going to bother. So, okay, so we're just going to beam back up to the ship. Oh, and because I hit, I wasn't thinking. There would have been a info box along the side here, to the right-hand side, that would have let me continue back in. But I'm kind of dumb and hit the wrong button. Beaming out will take you back to sector space and will take you out of the mission. Fortunately, when you come back in, you can usually continue from where you left off. And in this case, there's an Undyne ship. And holy crap, is this Undyne ship big and nasty. And he fires Undyne plasma torpedoes. Now, the nice thing is you can actually target the torpedo. And if the torpedo hits you, it will actually do a bit of damage. The Undyne ship's pretty nasty, and you'll notice I am doing jack all to its shields. Oh, and boom. Yeah, see, I actually took a bit of a hit, and I'm on plasma fire. So the Undying ship is not a pleasant thing at this stage of the game, because it is a much tougher ship than me. And I will try to... Oh. I'm going to get some distance. Now, fortunately, we only have to hold off for a couple of minutes. We're waiting for Starfleet reinforcements. Oh, and there's another torpedo. And one of the reasons I wanted to get some distance was I was hoping, with a little distance, I can hit this thing. Torpedoes are notoriously bad to hit and do damage to with phaser weapons, with energy weapons of any type, any sort of energy things. There's a couple of different variations of this. The Borg have this big energy ring that they'll fire out. And there's just a really high miss chance with energy weapons. If I could line up a torpedo shot on it, I'd be much better off, but... And I may try to do that with the next one. Yep, there's one. So let's spin and fire. Oh, and I still missed, so... Fortunately, I did manage to phaser it at the last second before it hit me and did bad things to me. And while this guy is tough, he's not, you know, completely nasty. I suppose if you ate every one of his plasma torpedoes, you might have a chance of getting severely damaged, but either way, you're not doing much to the Undying ship the entire time. But once the cavalry shows up, ooh. Yeah, see, I'm actually down to almost 75% hull here. One of my powers that I have is jam sensors. I forgot about that. Jam sensors is kind of nice because your target won't be able to shoot at you for a little bit of time. And you can see he's got the little sparkly effect on him. That's because his sensors are jammed. I actually tend to forget about that. I also have, because I haven't really used these bridge officers yet, I also have emergency power to shields, which is nice because that gives you an instant shield boost. I also just realized I never switched my weapons over to full power to weapons. I had it still balanced out evenly. So we'll do that out, and that'll let me do a little bit more damage. Not significantly more, but... There we go. Combined firepower of the USS Rideout, the USS Terev, the USS Kirk, and the USS Forest, and the USS Texas. So you get 5 extra ships helping you out on this one. And the combined firepower of all our ships is actually able to do some pretty decent damage. Which means the Undying ship is going to go boom. We scan the debris. Incoming message from the USS Kirk. This is Captain Thalen of the USS Kirk. Glad to see you made it here. Perhaps someday you will return the favor. Perhaps someday we will. Alright, we're done here, so we're going to depart system. And then once you're done with the mission, it should pop up pretty quickly, automatically. But if it doesn't, you can either click on Hail Starfleet, and it'll be at the top. You can go to In Progress, and it'll be ready to turn in. Or there's a little Starfleet icon next to the mission itself. See, diplomatic orders. There's a little Starfleet. If I double click on that, it'll automatically bring up that window as well. So we're going to get a data recorder, We're going to get a personal shield, and we get to choose one of the following, but there's only one choice. I love it when they do that. But we'll get a new photon torpedo launcher.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
And that will level us. We are now level 3. Actually, we got enough experience points that if you look at your experience bar across the top of the screen, which is the white bar, we are actually really, really close to level 4. So he's got 2 missions for us. One is a tutorial, Scientific Method, and we're going to go ahead and take that. Scientific Method will actually lead you into the crafting stuff. So I can give you a little bit of a peek at what crafting does. And Hide and Seek, which is the next storyline mission. Lieutenant, this mission briefing is classified. Starfleet Intelligence has been working on cracking the coded message, blah, blah, blah. Wants us to go to the Lackey system in the Orion sector of a Sirius sector block and investigate the Pulsar Nebula. So we're going to accept that. And I think that's where we're going to call it for now. So thanks for watching along. I've had a lot of fun, and we'll see you next time.